Switching gears for now, as West Asia breathes a sigh of relief because of the Gaza ceasefire, the Ukrainian president has hailed the truce and said that it brings hope that US President Donald Trump could similarly broker an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. He said on social media, I'm quoting here, "When peace is achieved for one part of the world, it brings more hope for peace in other regions." It's been a long-drawn war. Tens of thousands have been killed, millions forced from their homes, much of eastern and southern Ukraine decimated. Still, the war is showing no signs of abating. If anything, its spillover effect is being felt and being talked about. According to new reports now, Russia has reportedly started what analysts are calling Phase 0 in its military preparations for a potential war with NATO. You heard that right. The Institute for the Study of War, in fact, saying the appearance of a small group of Russian military personnel along the Estonian border is part of a broader effort to establish an information and psychological platform ahead of possible future conflict. This is crucial. And on Friday, October 10, Estonian authorities temporarily closed a section of the road near the Russian border after the border guards spotted Russian servicemen without identification markings. The road, which runs partially through the Russian territory, spans nearly a kilometer between the village of Varska and Satsi. Estonian officials noted that the uniforms of the individuals spotted suggested that they were not Russian border guards. Moscow, however, maintaining that its activities in the area were routine operations. The Estonian foreign minister, meanwhile, said that Russian troops have been acting more decisively and visibly than before, though he cautioned against exaggerated reports of escalating tensions there. The government has also announced plans to discontinue the use of this road with alternative routes already in place or under construction. The report saying that this incident follows earlier provocations, including the Russian military aircraft violating Estonian airspace on September 7 and 19. And according to Western experts, Russia has intensified both covert and overt actions against Europe, marking what they describe as Phase 0, basically a stage focused on shaping information and psychological conditions as a precursor to potential open war with NATO. The report notes this is the first time ISW has observed what the Kremlin calls little green men, that is, Russian forces in unmarked uniforms operating near a NATO state under this Phase 0 campaign. Meanwhile, the conflict in Ukraine continues unabated. Firefighters in southern Ukraine worked through the night to contain massive fires at textile and sewing warehouses in Odessa after a Russian drone attack which damaged more than 5,000 square meters of storage space and destroyed a vehicle. One person was injured. On the front lines, Russia and Ukraine have been exchanging fire across multiple regions. The Russian Defense Ministry claiming to have shot down more than 70 Ukrainian drones over the past 24 hours, while striking Ukrainian fuel and energy infrastructure in 137 locations. Ukraine, meanwhile, says it has regained control of a village in Zaporizhia Oblast. This, as reports suggest, that the U.S. intelligence sharing has enabled Ukraine to conduct long-range strikes against Russian energy facilities, though neither Washington nor Kiev have officially commented on the report. Meanwhile, in Donetsk, the situation is dire. Ukrainian soldiers are increasingly exposed to drone attacks that can hit targets with precision. Local hospitals reported shrapnel injuries as the primary cause of the wounds, with evacuation of the injured becoming more difficult due to the intensity of the fighting. Soldiers and medical staff have also described a grueling reality. Some wounded remain on the front lines for days or even weeks. And the advanced technology of the drones is changing the dynamics of combat entirely. In Kramatorsk, authorities have ordered evacuations of families with children from certain neighborhoods as the city faces heavy shelling. And amid this escalated fighting, US President Donald Trump has said over the weekend that he may provide Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles if the Russian president does not end the war. And discussions between Trump and the Ukrainian president reportedly cover the potential delivery of such weaponry, though the Kremlin has reiterated that any use would require US participation, and that would mean direct conflict between the US and Russia. Today, Ukraine's foreign minister said more countries are expected to join a NATO-backed arms funding scheme known as the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List. Already, countries including the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Canada have financed earlier packages. In fact, it is designed to provide Ukraine with new weapons and reallocate US stockpiles through contributions from NATO allies. As a whole, the situation in Eastern Europe remains tense, to say the least, with Russia advancing the phase zero tactics that we just told you about, Ukraine continuing to defend its territory under challenging conditions, and the NATO-backed support growing amid the escalating hostilities. How far will this escalation go remains to be seen. And after more than 3 years of the fighting, can diplomatic or military solutions still happen?